Tell me who Dan is.
Who's Dan Harmon?
Dan Harmon is...
Dan Harmon is a very complex individual.
I don't know. Have other people been able to describe Dan? Have you gotten a concise, accurate description?
I definitely think you're going to get a lot of different answers to who is Dan Harmon, depending on who you ask.
Dan Harmon is a creator.
A comedian.
Producer.
Kind of a genius.
Straight up nerd.
A gregarious, garrulous, gastronomical...
How would Dan describe himself?
Dan?
I don't know. Pass.
I think Dan Harmon would describe himself as indescribable.
He's a little narcissistic. He's got a bit of an ego.
You'd probably say smelly.
Definitely a fat ass.
A troublemaker.
A podcaster.
An alcoholic.
He's probably the first person to say he's self-destructive.
I think Dan would describe himself as a human hand grenade who has a predilection for pulling his own pin out.
I think he'd say he's a writer. I think he'd say that. I think he'd be very simple about it.
Writing. Dave, send the actors down for their season 1 evaluations. Hi, I'm Dan Harmon. I created NBC's Community.
Community is an exploration of people who are sort of on the outskirts of society, who have been given a second chance.
So you guys suddenly just wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons?
Yeah! Why wouldn't we?
There's a running theme in his work that he reaches out to people that aren't used to being reached out to.
And you kind of feel like you're in a secret club if you watch Community, because a lot of the world doesn't even know it's a TV show.
Community's had its ups and downs this year. Its ups were the nights we followed The Office and people left their TVs on by accident. Its downs were the rest of the season.
The show's his baby. You know, so like he wants the show to be perfect.
Dan wears his heart on his chest and he speaks his mind, and it has gotten him into trouble.
He's always striving for perfection, and I think he's harder on himself than anybody else.
You could see that at the end of the 3rd season, that he was really worn down.
So I just wanted to let you know that Community is moving to 8. What do you mean we're moving to 8? 7 Central. What the fuck is Central? It's the center of the country, you fucking idiot! Oh, fuck you!
Didn't want to go to therapy, and he needed an avenue through which to vent, so he started doing Harmontown, the podcast, at Meltdown Comics.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harmontown is once again in session.
Well, Harmontown is a podcast that they do every week where Dan, Jeff, they kind of just, they'll talk for a while. It's different. It's not just an interview thing.
This is it.
We don't prepare.
Dan spent the last 3 years writing for a big network show. There are all these filters that his work has to go through. Like, this is the polar opposite of that.
When you walked into my apartment, you would be knee-high in pizza boxes. There was mannequin legs with pantyhose on them. I was wiping my ass with T-shirts because I wouldn't go buy toilet paper, because I didn't want people at Albertsons to know that Heat Vision and Jack hadn't been picked up for series.
He's got a lot on his mind. and when he talks about it, it's like, you do kind of want a front row seat for that. Uh-oh.
No, I just do that to hope that I come up with something else to say.
This show is very unique in that it's very interactive. The audience is very much a part of the show.
All right, well, I guess let's have a hand for the fellowship of looking forward to The Hobbit.
None of us were the cool kids in high school. Nobody's like the prom king in that audience, unless they went to like an anime school or something.
Let's introduce our dungeon master, Spencer, everyone.
I don't think a lot of people could sit through a staged Dungeons and Dragons. That's crazy.
There's really nothing that's embarrassing in here because we're all admittedly fetishists and nerds and weirdos and lonely and...
I'm kind of hesitant to call this a kink. It's not really a kink. It's not really a fetish. Because I don't get off on it. That's the thing. But
I may.
I can't believe you don't come here every week.
The only boss that Dan respects is the audience, because he just wants to entertain like the people, like the 20, 30 people that are in front of him.
All right. Well, everybody be cool.
So one night in the show, Dan played a voicemail from Chevy Chase.
If you were here right now, I'd kick your teeth out, you alcoholic fat shit. You're gonna live to be about 57 if you're lucky, the way you eat. And your writing is getting worse and worse, so shut that up. You're not funny. You're okay.
After a fan fight to keep it on the air and those now infamous Chevy Chase voicemails, Community is in the headlines again.
It's long been reported that Harmon has clashed with the network, crew, and even some of the actors. But now he has been fired from the show he created.
Chevy, how you feeling about the Dan Harmon stuff?
The what?
Dan Harmon.
Who's that?
For 3 years, I was told, get higher ratings, and I figured out how. I'm going to go to the networks that have higher ratings. And